Hey guys, this is the training video for the video annotation curriculum. It's known as T16 now. Alright. No, so what you're supposed to do is you're required to accurately draw a bounding box around one person in an office setting who's wearing a hoodie. So your key point is going to be looking for the person who's wearing the hoodie. And besides that, once you have drawn a bounding box around the person, you're required to determine and label the visibility, the in frame and out of frame, the gender, color, and also if the person is holding an item. Now, these are all the tools that you need to know for the annotation. Okay, so you have the bounding box tool, you have the delete bounding box tool, you have the zoom in and zoom out, and then of course you have the image to screen, the lock, the undo, redo, and of course the brightness control. So now these are the new shortcuts that you need to know. All right, so you'll be given 3 videos that is shot in an office setting. This is how it will look like. Now besides that, I can just show you here. This is how it will also look like. Okay, now what you're supposed to do is you need to do the following. Draw a bounding box around one person in the video who's wearing a hoodie and move and adjust the boxes that is fully enclosed to the person. Okay, determine the visibility level. Okay, so visibility, there are 2 things. So visibility, there's basically, so for example, I'm just going to put a box here temporarily. So there's like in frame, out of frame, and then there's the occlusion level, which is the visibility, and then there is also the gender, there's the color of the shirt, there's also the posture, and also there's also the holding, yes, no. All right, so now step 1, draw a bounding box. You're required to draw a bounding box around one person in the video who's wearing a hoodie. So in every video there's going to be one person who's going to be wearing a hoodie. So you need to draw a bounding box around the person. Okay, and of course you need to adjust the box frame by frame. Okay, now you should only annotate the parts of the person can be seen. So don't assume if the person is occluded or anything. So for example, but this is the person who's wearing the hoodie. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to draw a tight bounding box around the person. Okay, include all the parts where you can visibly see. Okay, so something like this. Okay, because this is where it stops. Okay, that's it. And then, so this is the thing. So then you need to determine if it's in frame or out of frame. So in frame refers to when the person model's body is completely in the frame. They are within the borders of the video. So as long as you can see the person who's wearing the hoodie within the frames of the video, within the borders of the video, they are going to be in frame. Out of frame is when the person has completely stepped out of the frames beyond the borders of the video. Okay, so if the person is hidden behind the furniture, they are not out of frame, they are still in the frame because they have not left this borders of the video. So obviously this is in frame because the person is within the borders of the video. Okay, so example. Now next is determining the visibility level. So the visibility level, there are 3 options. That's fully visible when the person's body is not occluded by the slightest bit of any external object, if it's a furniture, person, or anything that is found in the video. So you can see the person completely. Now if the person's hand is blocking if the own person's hand is blocking their own body, that is not occluded. Okay, this is basically external objects. Now partially occluded refers to when a person is occluded by any external object. Okay, and this is also used when the person is stepping out partially out of the frame. So which means, let's say this person here, if the person is being blocked by another object, we label them as partially occluded. If part of the person is walking out of the frame, where part of their body leaves the edges of the video, that is also partially occluded. Okay, now this also applies when the person is almost completely occluded, but a small part of the person can be seen. So for example, okay, in this video right here, if you see in the later frames, there's going to be a person that steps into the video and completely blocks the person here. Okay, so what you can see here is that you can see that the person wearing the hoodie's shoes are still visible. So you are actually going to only annotate the visible shoes as part of the person wearing the hoodie. Okay, so this is how it should be, and this will still be partially occluded. Obviously, if it's fully visible, means it's like this, where the person is entirely visible. Okay, nothing is blocking the person, so you're going to label this as fully visible. Okay, partially occluded is the one where when the video started, where you have some parts of the person's body being occluded by another object. Okay, now you will need to click the blank box on the right below subject 1 in order to see the drop down appear. So again, remember to always click on the drop down. Every single selection has got a drop down, so you need to select certain things for every single frame. Remember. Now determine the gender of the person: male, female, unknown. So choose between either male or female as you can best assume. Now unknown, when do you use unknown? Unknown is only to be used when the person's gender is not um, is you're unable to determine the person's gender throughout the whole video due to lighting, person's face turn back, poor quality, or when it's fully occluded throughout the video. Okay, once the gender has so let's say you have a video where at the beginning you don't know the gender, you just pick unknown. Later part of the video you realize that it is actually a male, so you need to go back to the beginning of the video and change the gender so that the gender remains constant throughout every single frame of the video. Okay, so in this case, obviously female. Now next is the color of the person's t-shirt. So there are 8 color options here. We have red, blue, green, yellow, black, white, other, and unknown. Now when the person has got a color that is not listed here, okay, so let's say a person is wearing pink, then you choose other. Unknown is when the person, you can't see the person's shirt color because of the hoodie or because of they are completely occluded all the time. Okay, now if the person's color is not listed, choose other. Unknown is only used when the color cannot be determined from the start. Okay, however, once the color can be determined in a particular frame later throughout in the video, you need to change the first frame and maintain it throughout the frame. So the gender and the t-shirt is the same process. So here you know it's orange. So since there's no orange, you select other. Now next is determine the person's posture. So there's sitting, standing, and lying down. So sitting is when the person is actually positioned on sitting position when the body upright. The legs may or may not be on the ground. Person may be sitting in a position where the legs are also on the couch. Model is considered standing when the body is balancing. So standing, you know what is it. Lying down, obviously, when they are resting on a couch, on a horizontal position. Now, keep in mind, you're going to be changing the posture throughout the video. So each and every time they are basically changing the position, you need to change it accordingly. Okay, so for example, right now this person is sitting. Okay, so when do you start changing the sitting to standing? So when the person starts to lift up their body from a sitting position, you change it to standing. When the person rests their body on the chair already, then you change it as sitting. Okay, same goes for lying down also. When the person's body is rested horizontally, okay, you will then change it to resting already. Okay, lying down, I mean. Now next is you're going to determine if the person is holding something. So if the person, okay, so for the holding drop down there are 2 options. There's going to be holding yes and holding no. So option is selected when the person in the hoodie is holding something, and you select no when the person is not holding something. Now as I told you earlier, every single frame there must be some selection here. Okay, now holding yes, holding no. So in this frame, the person is holding something. In the later parts of the frame, the moment she lets go this frame, you will change it to no. Okay, so remember, so I'm not adjusting the box for every frame. I mean, you get that. Okay, but we're going to talk about all these other things that we have here. Okay, now always remember, when as and when the person holds something, you need to toggle this to yes. Okay, now obviously yes, no. If the person's hand is grasping a piece of furniture such as a table or a chair, so if the person is like touching a chair or like table, they're grasping a table or a chair, that is not considered as holding. Okay, holding is something like what we see in this picture right here. It's an example. Okay, yeah, like this. Now, so let's talk about how to navigate through the task. Okay, so I've told you all the labels. Let's talk about how to navigate through the task. So the following task scenario is similar. Okay, complete as how it is. So first you click on, let's start on the first video. You click play. Okay, or you can press spacebar. You play. So when you're doing the task, I would recommend you to change the video to be 0.25 so that it's slower and you can actually easily see the frames moving at a slower pace. And then using your keyboard, V to move forward, C to move backwards. Okay, so obviously play the video until you see the person in the picture. Draw bounding box. Okay, and then hit pause. So you draw the bounding box. Once you draw the bounding box, okay, so what I would recommend that you do is you draw the bounding box. Okay, and then once you draw the bounding box already, you will then go to the in frame. Okay, so you'll choose in frame or out of frame. Okay, so you'll choose the in frame if the person is in frame, and then you'll choose the visibility. So obviously in this case, partially occluded because the person is actually, part of the body is in frame, part of the body is out frame, so this is still partially occluded. And then the gender is male. Color of t-shirt has been set to unknown because you need to be able to see. Okay, all right. And then posture, obviously you know that it is standing, and then holding yes. Okay, and then now now what you can do is you can either press Ctrl Shift C to jump 5 frames forward, or just press C depending on what you want. Okay, so, and then of course as the frame progresses, you need to resize the bounding box here to fit the person's body. Okay, so the picture below shows that the bounding box has been reshaped holding the person. Okay, still partially occluded, but the posture has not changed, and also the t-shirt has not been revealed yet. So here the person is considered to be partially occluded because the legs can't be seen. The person is considered standing due to he's not fully seated yet. So the moment he's rested, then only you change it to sitting. Until he's actually not seated, then you will still say as standing. Okay, obviously he's still holding, standing, t-shirt unknown, gender male, partially occluded, and in frame. Okay, so t-shirt color gray is not available. It's an option that's been left. So the reason we know it's gray is because we forward it later and you will see the t-shirt color is gray. But then you need to come in front and change back. But right now we're going step by step. Okay. Posture option has been changed from sitting to sitting when the person is assumed to be sitting in full position. Holding is now changed to no because the person is not holding the item already. Okay. Several frames away, you can see the person standing back up again. So this one, visibility still considered partially occluded because the chair is still covering the portion of the leg. T-shirt color not changed because it already determined in the previous frames, and logically we can't change because the person is turned back. Okay, so I think in this frame in this frame you can see the shirt color as being gray. So since gray is not in the option that is given, you choose other. Okay, So you're not going to change the gender, you're not going to change the color of the t-shirt already, because that remains throughout. That from start to end is going to be the same throughout the video. Okay, after a few frames we see that the left frame is still on the left. So here visibility out of frame because the guy went out of the frame. Okay, so again, so let me choose this. So when the person goes out of the frame, you're going to just change out of frame. The bounding box will go away. Let's say for the visibility, you said that they are partially occluded. Okay, imagine a situation, this person is walking out of the frame. As they walk out, it will be in frame and it will be partially occluded. The moment the person's full body goes out, you just change this to out of frame. Don't worry about this, because the moment you change to out of frame, the bounding box will go missing, will be hidden. Okay, and the machine will actually know that whatever selection that you're selecting here will not matter. And the person comes in back, then you change to in frame and then change this accordingly. Now, so as you can see here, the moment it's out of frame, just leave everything. Okay, don't worry about anything, just leave it be. Okay, now the visibility remains partially occluded, fully occluded. I mean, it could be partially occluded, it could be fully occluded. Holding is still yes, so nothing changes until the person comes back into the frame. Okay, now later in the video you can see where the person is being fully visible, not occluded or anything, so change accordingly to reflect. Okay, so then of course from holding yes, it will change to holding no. Okay, when the person returns to a seated position, you need to change the visibility to be depending on what you have. Like for example, in this case, okay, he's partially occluded because this chair is blocking his body. Okay, he's already in a sitting position. Okay, and shortly after, the person in the video is going to move to lying position. Okay, of course it's fully visible then, he's lying down, and of course holding is no, because he's not holding anything. Remember, holding the chair is not, it's not considered as holding. I mean, holding the chair as in like grasping the chair while he's sitting, that's not holding. And then here, now notice that the box here is not taken away in this scenario. He's fully occluded. Okay, so let's say in a frame there are two people coming into this frame. They are standing in front of the person wearing the hoodie. The person has not exited the frame. The person has just been sitting there, and another person just occludes them completely. What you need to do is, the person will still be in frame, their visibility will be fully occluded, same as this. So if you can see here, like I'm coming into the video, so right now, okay, like I think still can see some part of the person. Like now, you can't see the person wearing the hoodie already. You can't see the person at all, right? So what you'll need to do is, don't adjust the box, just change this to be fully occluded. That's it. Okay, all right. And then when let's say I move later, when you can see her, then you basically continue to annotate and change to partially occluded or fully visible, depending on what is the context of the image. Okay, now let's look at some common practices and mistakes. Okay, missed annotation caused by worker before editing and caused by worker attempting to add all attributes in the bounding box field attributes. Break down the task by stages by drawing the bounding boxes and ensuring they are reshaped and placed throughout every frame of the video, followed by adding singular attributes throughout the video again. So what I would suggest is, when you start the task, start by drawing the bounding box and adjusting the bounding box until end of the video. Then rewind the video, start selecting the in frame and out of frame. And then rewind back the video, start selecting the visibility. And then do the gender, do the color of the t-shirt, posture, and then the holding. It will help you not make mistakes. Okay? Confusion between fully and partially occluded. Have a listed breakdown. Okay, we have a listed breakdown where I've explained to you what fully occluded and partially occluded means. Fully occluded means the person is still within the borders of the video, but a third object is fully blocking the target object fully. Okay, partially occluded is when the person's body is partially occluded by another person, or they are partially out of the frame. Now, bounding boxes are not correctly drawn or reshaped according to the models or requirement. Okay, so here, remember, you are drawing whatever that is visible. Do not estimate, do not assume the occlusion part. Okay, so this is basically the training for T16 Lite qualification. Now, you will be basically required to do 3 tasks. Okay, there will be 3 videos given to you, so you'll need to do 3 tasks basically. All right, thank you.